Hello gorgeous, I am back today and today we're talking about 7 ways to release weight and manifest your dream body. Now before I begin, I'd like to share that I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not in the health industry. I'm just someone that through my own education and personal development have learned and embodied the techniques and tips and tricks that I'm about to share with you. So obviously consult your doctor and make sure that you are properly advised on what you should be doing because of your unique circumstances. So number one thing that I want to share with you that has actually helped me release weight and have my dream body is knowing that there is a on and off switch to weight loss. The way that our bodies have evolved, the way that we are programmed, when we do certain things, certain behaviors, it sends the signal to store fat and hang on to it tight. And there's other things that we do that sends the signal that it is now time to release fat and let it go. And both has obviously served us. There has been many times in our genetic history, millions of years of evolution, where obviously it was very beneficial to hang on to every ounce of fat we could, because there was such a scarcity of food and it was so much harder. Like more effort was exerted in getting food. You didn't just like DoorDash or like drive to the grocery store, obviously. So it benefited us to hang on to fat and only release it when there was an abundance. Now, because of the way we are sending signals to our body now, because of how our ways of living have changed, we're always sending the signal to store and not sending enough signals to release. So that is number one thing that I want to share with you, is that just becoming aware of this has been a complete game changer in my own relationship with my body and releasing fat in the way that I eat and the way that I live my life, because realizing that, oh, well, storing fat is very natural and it's a good thing, and so is releasing fat. I'm just not sending the right signals when I want to, okay? Number two is that stress hormones, and this is especially true for women, but of course this is true for men and women, but this is a channel mainly for women. So you have to understand that when we are stressed out, that sends the signal to store fat, okay? It releases cortisol, it sends the signal, hang on to fat, especially the belly area. But depending on your physical makeup, you may hang on to fat in other areas. We all have different types of bodies, and based on that, we store fat in different places. So I'm gonna be doing a future video on that. Actually, it's quite fascinating, and I wanna share more with you on that. So when we have perceived situations or real situations that are stressful for us, we will hang on to fat and it will send that signal, and it will be way harder to release that. You may be working out, which actually may be sending the signal of stress even more, because it may not be the right time for you to work out. So this is another thing. This is a side advice, is that when I am stressed out because maybe I didn't get enough sleep, because my kids were sick or something like that, I will actually skip workouts or modify my workouts so that I'm not placing unnecessary stress on my body. Obviously, workout stress is good stress, and I do love to work out, but I'm in a woman's body and I do have delicate hormones, so we need to make sure that we're working with our body and not against our body, okay? So how can you relax yourself? Well, there's a million ways to relax. Obviously, for me, it is releasing the thing that I'm stressed about through journaling, meditating. I'm huge also on grounding, being out in nature. That's why we purchased this home, because of the glass on the whole house is made of glass, and one side, and you can just see nature all around. And I just want to always be surrounded by nature, because being in nature, the colors of nature, the sounds of nature, all of that is actually very, very relaxing for the human body. So make sure that you are getting out there, getting some sunshine, grounding with bare feet, in the soil and all that yummy stuff, so that you can send those right signals to your body that all is well. if you are the type of person that tends to think about things, like overanalyze things, overthink things, maybe something happened to you last week, you're still posting about it on Facebook and thinking about it, that is all stressing you out. It's all sending fight or flight signals, and that is, you're not going to be able to release fat as easily as you like when you're in that state. The last point in number 2 is pretend. Pretend to be relaxed. Pretend to breathe as you would breathe if you were relaxed. Pretend to move as you would move if you were relaxed. And changing your body and the way you breathe and the way you move actually will start sending those right signals to your brain and set that thing in motion. So when in doubt, pretend, and that will even that works. Okay. Number 3, way to release fat and send the right signals is insulin. Being aware of your insulin. So when we are eating, we are raising insulin, and that sends the signal of what? It sends the signal to store fat. So regardless of what you're eating, when you're eating, most things will raise your insulin. You know, even broccoli will raise your insulin a little bit, right? So every time you eat, then you are sending the signal to store fat. When your insulin levels deplete, when you are not eating, when you are fasting, that sends the signal to release fat. So this is important. So there are these 2 modes: eating, store fat; not eating, release fat. Well, what happens if you're eating, all the time? If you're eating, every couple of hours, and even if you're eating healthy things, that might, depending on what you're eating, it might be raising your insulin and not giving you enough time to deplete it to send the right signals. So this is different, obviously, for different people. You want to consult your doctor, but personally for me, I do intermittent fasting. I have been doing intermittent fasting for pretty much all of my life without even realizing it, because I hate eating breakfast. But intentionally using the word intermittent fasting and tracking it, I have been doing for a decade, over 10 years, about 12 years now. And it has been a game changer for the way that I feel, the way that I look, the way that I show up, energy levels, like everything. So the reason I do this, I eat in a 6 to 8 hour window. It's because when I'm eating, I know that I'm raising, my insulin levels, and then those 16 to 18 hours that I'm fasting, and obviously it took me a while to build up to that level. You want to start with 13 hours and work your way up. When I'm fasting, then I'm depleting all of that insulin, and then flipping that switch to release fat, and then using the fat storage in my body to burn that for energy. And that's how you are sending those signals. So if you eat until 10:30 p.m. and then go to bed and then eat first thing in the morning, you may not be giving your body enough chance to deplete all of that insulin and then go into fat burning mode. Doctors that I love that talk about this topic in brilliant ways that I possibly can't are Dr. Jason Fung, F-U-N-G. He has amazing books on this topic as well. He's got a YouTube channel. Definitely check him out. Also, Dr. Eric Berg. I've been following him for over a decade, and my oldest son is obsessed with his videos too now. My husband watches his videos. We love him. Also, check out his videos for more information on this on-off switch and how to activate it in your favor. Okay, number 4 is seasonal signals. So again, we are seasonal beings, and we have these 4 seasons that we go through the year, and depending on where you live, yours might be a little bit shorter or longer, but we have evolved to honor these 4 seasons simply because that's just how nature worked. So because of how nature works, there were certain foods that were only available in certain seasons and not available in other seasons. So when we eat those foods now, we may be, for example, if you're eating in spring a food that would typically only be available in fall in nature, but now it got shipped over from another country because they're in a different season. If you eat that, it sends the body that it's the signal that it's fall, and we should be storing fat for winter, because when winter comes, food is going to be harder to come by. So that is also a big thing that I think a lot of people are not aware of. That's where that saying eat seasonally, eat locally comes from, because if you're not eating seasonally and locally, then you may be sending your body the wrong signals. If you're eating fall foods, you know, when it's springtime, it's time to release that fat and trim up and tone up and all that yummy stuff, but you're sending the wrong signal. So that is also important, okay? Number 5 is your subconscious beliefs. If you could, from the 5% of your conscious mind, you could be saying, I want to lose weight, I want to be sexy, I want to have my dream body, I want to do this, this, and this. But the 95% believes it's dangerous to lose fat. If you're sexy, you're going to get the wrong type of attention. People are going to be jealous of you. If that's what's programmed in you, then your subconscious is not going to allow you to lose that weight. That's where self-sabotage comes from. That's when you yo-yo. That's when you lose a couple of pounds and then all of a sudden you've gained it back. All of a sudden you're like eating and doing things you're not supposed to be doing because of that self-sabotage. So definitely involve inner work. If you are someone that really struggles with weight loss, the inner work may be the missing key to your journey, and really finally aligning the subconscious with the conscious so that your goals are actually aligned, okay? Before I give you 6 and 7, quickly want to tell you I'm doing a free 3-part training on how to manifest and raise your vibrational currency. I know so many of you replied when I emailed this out and posted it on my Instagram that you literally manifested this. This is exactly what you needed. This is for all levels of manifesting, whether you've never intentionally manifested, maybe you don't know how to manifest. We're going to be talking about manifesting with God, manifesting with science, manifesting practically in more of the masculine, and manifesting in the feminine way, in more of the subconscious. All of this stuff absolutely free. How do you find out where we're doing it and when? Will be through my email list. So if you are already on my email list, you will be getting that notification sometime next week on when and where to show up. And if you are not on my email list, girl, what are you waiting for? You need to get on my email list, okay? I will post it in the comments and in the description box. When you sign up, you're going to get a email back immediately, an auto email with my free container playbook that will give you my 4 stages of consciousness. And then next week, you will be hearing about these 3 free trainings. These are very limited time. They will be turned into paid content later. That's how potent they are. So you need to be there. All right. Number 6 reason or thing that you can do to release weight is to decide. Okay, decide that you are finally ready to do this, that you are making it your number 1 priority. Oftentimes we think we have these goals, but they're very vague goals, right? Like someday you're gonna lose the last 10 pounds. Someday you're gonna do this, this, and this. When you decide something, it's such a powerful signal to not only your subconscious mind, but to the cosmos, the angels, the heavens, like everyone, that this woman means business. Like, you know, when someone is kind of like wishy-washy versus when someone has decided, because their energy around it changes, right? The way they talk about it changes, the way they move changes. Like, you know, they're not playing any games when they decide. In my own life, in so many areas, I have kind of like wishy-washy, like wishful thinking decided. And then the minute that I actually decided, like, no one could convince me out of it. I couldn't convince myself out of it. Like, you had to move out of my way or you would be bulldozed through. That's how I had decided. So decide that you get to lose this weight. Decide that you are worthy, and make sure that your subconscious and your conscious is both deciding, again, through inner work. Okay, if you need more help with that, the Basic Babe bundle is life-changing. The 6-step process in there will help you really decide by aligning your core beliefs to whatever your goal, whether it's weight loss, divine union, money, you know, anything. You can use that same 6-step process. Okay, number 7 is to measure your progress in some shape or form. I can't stress this one enough. You know, whatever you can't measure, you can't manage. Like, you don't know if it's working or not working, right? You may be taking 2 steps forward and 10 steps back and not even knowing it. Measuring actually puts it in black and white. It shows you where you are self-sabotaging. It shows you where you are not really putting in as much effort as you like. So I love measuring my progress. And of course, I'm not like overly masculine about it or like fixated on it, but I want to be able to measure it. My husband says, whatever you can measure, you can improve. And in fact, there's a saying that simply by you consciously measuring something or putting attention on it immediately improves it by 15%. Hey, I will take that, right? So some ways that I measure is right now I'm pretty much in maintenance mode. I already have my dream body, so I'm not doing this one anymore. But when I was trying to lose weight and I've lost 70 pounds in my life, I was keeping a food journal. I tried the apps and they were not my jam. I tried them many times. Some of my clients and students love them. So it's really about finding the thing that you like. What worked for me actually was writing it down in my journal, like writing down what I ate. And this was really helpful for me because I started noticing that certain foods didn't really resonate with me, meaning when I would eat certain foods, I would be bloated a couple hours later or not be able to sleep that night. And the pattern became so clear that it was like undeniable because I was writing this down. In fact, in my healthy lifestyle course, which is part of the Basic Bake Bundle, I have you guys keep a food journal for at least a week because it will show you in black and white where your holes are, where you're like really sabotaging yourself. So I would really recommend that. And one thing that I currently do, and I've been doing this for many years, is I use a fasting tracking app. I love this app. It's the Zero app. I'm not sponsored any or anything like that. They don't even know I exist. I have the free version. I've never paid for it. I love the free version. It's enough for me. It's so cool because it gives you these trophies and these points and things like that for like having a streak of fasting. I just love it. You can put in your weight in there. It has all these other features that I don't use, but honestly, my husband, me, and now my son is actually using it as well. We track our fast in there. So at night, we're all like, okay, I'm closing my window. And that just means I'm closing my eating window. And in the morning, like, we're like, oh, what time does your window end? Like, it's just fun. Like, it's just fun to do it. I love doing it. And I especially love that at this point, we're doing it all together because it just adds more fun. But don't let that discourage you. I'm a little bit almost hesitant to talk about doing this with my husband and son because I get feedback saying, well, if only I had someone to do it with, or my husband's not on board or whatever. The truth is I did it for 7 years by myself because I'm the one in this body. I had a full-blown autoimmune disease. You guys know I was suffering from RA pain. I had so much arthritis pain, like I could barely lift my kids when they were younger. So it didn't matter that anyone wasn't doing it with me. Like, I was dying alone, like, right? Like, I'm the one in this body. I'm the one in pain. So I started doing this stuff, you know, over a decade ago, and it completely changed my life. And at the end of the day, here's a bonus one for you. You have to have a strong why. This is bonus tip number 8. I love number 8. It's the number of abundance. And here's tip number 8. You have to have a strong why. My why is that I didn't want to end up like my mother. Like I did, my mom literally lit herself on fire, let herself go for other people that didn't appreciate it, right? They weren't the ones suffering for her when she got cancer and was overweight and all that stuff. Like, she had, you know, her last few years of life were so low quality because of her letting herself go. So my number one why was I promised my mother that I was never going to let myself go, that I was always going to take care of myself. That's a huge why in my life. Secondly, the minute that I decided to have kids, it's no longer about me, right? I want to give my kids the best experience of life that I possibly can, like I humanly can. I want to be around to witness their wins in life. I want to be there for them when that life happens. I just want to experience them. I want to see them. I want to be there for their weddings, their graduations. I want to be healthy. I want to be there for my grandchildren and hopefully even for my great grandchildren. Like, I want to be there and I want to be active. I want to be a part of their lives. And so that's a big, big, big why for me. Also, my husband and I, when we got married, we decided we were going to grow young together and not old together, and that we were going to keep each other young and active and vibrant. And so that's a big why in my life. And then the biggest why in my life is me. I get to be in my dream body. I get to wear the clothes that I love wearing. I get to have the kind of energy that I desire to have. I'm worthy of having a full, rich life experience. And that is also a huge why for me. So get a clearly defined why and follow some or maybe even all of these tips, and I hope that they help you and find you well. So subscribe if you're new here. Give this video a thumbs up because girl, lots of people need to see this content. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one.